everyone, this is Yvonne from yvonneceramics. In today's video, I'm going to do a review on a clay sampler kit. So this is a clay sampler kit from the clay warehouse. And in this clay sampler kit, there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 different types of clay here for people to try if they're not sure which clay they like better. So in this kit, let me see, they have 4 types of clay from Georgie's and 2 types of clay from PSH. And we have a white salmon, a pioneer dark, trillium porcelain, a trail mix dark chocolate, and a dark granite, and a speckled buff clay. So they come in little baggie like these with a good size amount of clay in here, and they are all mid-range clay, so it fires to cone 5 and 6. So my plan is to throw a cylinder with each clay on the pottery wheel, and then we'll see how each clay performs. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more videos each week. So I'm going to start throwing with the white clay first. I'm going to start with Georgie's white salmon. It feels very smooth. It feels like the clay that I usually throw with, which is Platinum M370, which is a really white, smooth, white stoneware clay. So I'm going to throw on a bed. My thoughts on this Georgie's white salmon clay. So I just threw a cylinder with 3 poles. I used about the same amount of water of how I usually throw with the Platinum M370. I say that this clay is very smooth, easy to throw with, great for beginners, very similar to the M370 clay. I would say that it is actually creating less slip than the M370 clay. So I really like this clay. Let me take this off and then we'll try the next one. We have the Georgie's trillium porcelain clay. It feels very smooth, very soft to touch. My thoughts on this porcelain clay from Georgie's is that it's very easy to work with for porcelain clay. So if you ever struggle with throwing with porcelain clay, you can definitely give this a try. Easy to throw, very similar to the white salmon clay, except this is a porcelain clay, and I found that when I use the same throwing technique, it actually creates more slip than the white salmon clay. But otherwise, very easy to work with. I would definitely recommend this clay. The next clay I'm trying out is the PSH Speckled Buff. The clay color looks a bit reddish. I thought this would be more like a B mix, your regular B mix with speckled, but it's a bit more reddish. So I am curious to see what color it will fire to and how it will interact with glazes. It is not as soft as my porcelain clay, but it's still very soft. So for this speckled buff clay from PSH. I finished throwing. For coning up and down, I find that this clay is not as smooth and as soft as the white salmon or the porcelain clay. And then I found that the also for pulling up, it is not as easy for pulling up as well. So this is not going to be my preferred clay. I think I like the white salmon or the porcelain better than this one. The next clay that I'm going to try is the PSH dark granite. And for this clay, it feels the same texture, feels like the speckled buff from before, so not as soft as the white salmon or the porcelain. And I don't know if you can see it. It looks like a gray stoneware with some black specks on it. So my guess is after firing, it will have little specks of black particles, especially if you're using white glaze on it. For this PSH dark granite clay, this is not really my preferred choice of clay because I find it really hard to work with, especially for coning up and down. It's not as smooth. It's harder clay, and it has, like, for me, I'm really used to throwing smoother clay, whereas this one you can feel the granite and a little bit of grout in the clay. So that's why I'm not very used to working with this type of clay, so I would not be using this type of clay in the future. But it looks really pretty. I'll zoom in so you can take a look. You can kind of see the black speckled I talked about earlier in the clay. So I think this would be really pretty with something simple glaze. Next up we have Georgie's Pioneer Dark Clay. So it looks like this. So it feels quite soft. It's a reddish brown color, and according to the description, it's very good choice for functional wear for throwing and hand building. It's a warm brown body. So let's put that on the wheel for a test. Pioneer Dark Clay. I find that this clay is quite smooth to work with as a brown or reddish clay. So if you like working with darker red or brown clay, I would recommend using this one. I think this is a pretty easy to throw clay. I do not have enough clay for hand building, so I'm not sure about the hand building, but I think this is a pretty good beginner for dark or red or brown. Last clay that I'm trying today is Georgie's Dark Chocolate. So I'm not sure if you can see, it's actually very dark compared to the previous one, which is the Pioneer Dark. That one, the previous one, is more reddish brown. This one is a very dark brown, almost black. And according to the description, this fires to like a rich brown, almost to black. And it's best to fire to cone 5. So just from feeling it, this is a little bit harder clay. I don't see any specks in it, so maybe this is a smoother body. This is Georgie's Dark Chocolate. I actually find this clay really hard to throw. It's not as soft as all the other clays, and I actually need to use a lot of water as well, and the slip is really dark, almost kind of like chocolate. So this is what I have thrown. I would not personally use it because it's not my type of clay. I prefer something smoother and easier to work with. So here are all 6 packs of the mid-range clay sample from the Clay Warehouse. I have the Georgie's white salmon, the porcelain, the speckled buff, and then the dark granite, the Pioneer Dark, and then the Trail Mix Dark Chocolate. So if I were to rate the all 6 clay based on what I like to use, because I usually throw really smooth white clay, I would go with the white salmon and the porcelain because they're both very similar, easy and smooth to throw with. I also quite like the speckled buff. I find that these 3, the dark granite, the Pioneer Dark, and the dark chocolate are the toughest to throw and comb up and down. Actually, this one, the Pioneer Dark, is okay. It's actually not bad for a brown clay, but personally I just like white clay more, so I would not use the dark brown clay. But then if you do like red clay, you can definitely give this a try. I like this idea of the clay sampler kit because for people who are not sure which clay to get or just wanted to be adventurous and try different clay, so this was such a great idea, so you can try different clay. And for those of you who's wondering, like, now what do I do with all the leftover clay and the stuff? So I put all the leftover clay on a plaster bat, so once it's dry up, I'm going to wedge them together and throw like a small little sampler bowl kind of thing. So yeah, I have fun and really enjoy the sampler clay, and I'll put an update for a second video on after glazing them. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you can give this clay sampler box for a try. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you guys next time. Bye bye.